We will always fight as one. The battle's won. We'll never come undone. Can we at least agree that that is like the greatest opening theme song to anything ever outside of Sonic the Hedgehog? Avengers: Earth Mightiest Heroes. This is probably the best thing Marvel's done in terms of like television. This is the closest they've ever gotten to the Bruce Timian level. If you like, I would say the show is probably as good as Justice League. Maybe Justice League's probably a little better, but that might be my own personal pro DC bias. But I feel like if you like, there's no reason to like this show any more or less than that show, and that show is a great show. So that's high praises coming from me. Um, the show, to me, the most impressive thing about the show is that it didn't. Marvel has a tendency to, well, a recent tendency to kind of like bend over and spread cheeks for the movies. And this, aside from making Iron Man the leader of the Avengers, and that's only a temporary thing, and making him sound just like Robert Downey Jr., there really was no movie influence in this show. The show actually was, I think it came out. Did it come out before the Avengers movie? I think it came out around the first Thor movie. So there really wasn't a lot of stuff for them to ape off. There wasn't a lot of movies yet for them to ape off, but I'm not convinced that they would if they got the chance to, because it seemed like the writers of this show had their own vision, get it, and really wanted to tell a great mix of both like classic Avengers stuff and modern stuff. And it was almost like bisected into seasons, where like the first season was kind of like classic Avengers stuff, like they did Kang. What else? It's actually been. I haven't got a chance. I haven't got a chance to record this. I actually finished watching this series like a week ago, so it's still a hazy. I've watched like 2 other series since then. They did Kang's in the first. They do the Zemo, all old Cap stuff, and then the second season they do like Red Hulk and like Bucky the Winter Soldier. Not that wasn't set up in the first season, but between the 2 seasons, I would have to give it to the first one. There's some wonky stuff in the second season for me personally. They do more experimental weird stuff in the second season, and you get like more of the Marvel universe and not just the main Avengers. And I think the first season has a stronger storyline. So this is the classic Avengers. Iron Man. I see one thing I'm surprised they didn't do and impressed by. Another thing is that Iron Man, although he was the leader of the team, he did not be a complete time sink like I assumed he would be. He's just another member of. He has equal time with all the other members of the Justice League and of the Avengers. I definitely thought they would be riding his dick for most of the time, but no. And actually, you could even argue he had less screen time, not less screen time, but less storyline importance than the other ones, because they did the Kang stuff, which he was an important character. Kang was kind of the thing he had the most important prominent. He had the most prominence in because he's like all about being the most technologically advanced, and Kang made him look like kind of like an idiot, or made him look kind of like a chump because Kang's from the future, so he's way more advanced. But the Kang story was more about Captain America. 50-50. But, they had Abomination, and they had, like, a whole Gamma World stuff that was all about the Hulk. They had a bunch of stuff with Loki. That's all about Thor. Ultron, which was more about Hank and was more about Ant-Man and Wasp. And they did some Wakandan stuff. Hawkeye didn't really get that much time either. Let me just go through. Okay, so that... But other than that, I think even if they didn't get a specific storyline about them, they still were, portrayed very well in all their storylines. I'll just run down. Iron Man, as I said, I actually liked his voice actor. He sounded good to me. He sounded a lot like Robert Downey Jr. I thought he did a good job. Thor was good. He's Thor. Captain America. I said it was surprising they didn't ride Tony's dark stick. They actually kind of rode Cap's dick a little too hard in this. I think he was, especially in the second season. I'll get into that later. But he also is very cornball, and not in like an endearing way. Like I think they kind of hammer the cornball stuff a little too much. Then Avengers Assemble. They say that way too much in this series. It got like, especially in the second season, it got like really corny. How like anytime the team did anything, Captain America would say Avengers Assemble. It was kind of annoying. Do I look like I have a glowing nose in this video? Because the way the shadow is falling. Oh well. Hulk. It was weird because I like Bruce Banner a lot, and he was kind of a non-entity in this series for the most part, and it was kind of like a very heroic thing that Bruce Banner did. He said, "You can be the Hulk. We'll be the Hulk full time if you agree to join the Avengers and help them." Which is which is weird because the Avengers themselves were pretty cool with Bruce Banner essentially sacrificing his life to get the Hulk. There was never any issue with that. In the second season, there's an episode where they show that Bruce Banner gets like 1 day a month to exist. So getting comfy. So that kind of alleviated. That was bugging me in the first season. That kind of alleviated that for me. Ant-Man and Wasp. Ant-Man, all the Ant-Man, not Scott Lang so much, but are both of the Hank Pym and Eric O'Grady are like in my top tier Marvel characters. So I was pretty psyched that he got such a prominent role in this. And I actually thought I really liked. There was a very original take on Hank. The idea of like a superhero who's like a pacifist, and is kind of only in it to help the villains, and kind of because he sees that everyone else is way more into just kicking the shit out of him and leaving him to rot in a cell. So it was a very unique perspective for him. And I thought I found myself agreeing him with most of it. I know I say I like asshole-ish characters, but sometimes a nice guy. Sometimes it's interesting to have a guy who's like a really nice guy on the team. And although he comes off as a bit naive sometimes, when like there's evil monster villains like strangling people, and he's like, "Can we talk about this?" But I still liked him, and I liked Jan too, and she kind of the opposite of him, where she was all about like just beat the shit out of everybody. Also kind of naive in her own way about that, but I thought they were really well together. I like them both. I'm glad that they got to be in something because I don't think they will be for a long time. Okay, it was okay. I actually did like him. How he was just this irascible kind of guy. Black Panther. Marvel has a tendency to kind of Mary Sue Black Panther a little bit, and this show had that somewhat where like he kind of was always he was like always on top of everything. The Avengers always get knocked around a lot. He got knocked around by far the least out of everybody. They even make jokes about it later, where like I forget, they're like fighting invisible guys, and Black Panther's like my mask is equipped with the ability to see people of different spectrums, and then Hawkeye's just like, of course it is, because like Black Panther always has the answer for everything. He's like Batman in that way. But other than that, I didn't like his hair. That's a really weird nitpick. But he had like a weird like line going through his hair that was weird. Speaking of weird hair, Nick Fury, I guess they couldn't decide whether they wanted the white or the black Nick Fury, so they kind of had the mix. Like he was black, but he had like Nick Fury hair with like the little white temples. That was kind of funny. I think they should just go one way or the other. Don't try to mix and match Nick Fury. And then my point was proved in the second season, where they just went Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson style, and he looked way better. But I think that was all the Avengers. Yeah, it was. I wish I recorded this more rapidly, like more quickly after I finished watching the series, because I feel like I'm forgetting stuff. Well, the first season is just solid all the way through. The second season, I'll talk about the second season because that's more. There's more stuff to talk about, I think. And good news, they have, as I said, they have a wider view of the Marvel universe. Like the Fantastic Four show up all the time, not all the time, but a lot. Spider-Man shows up a couple times. Wolverine, the Heroes for Hire, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. Scott Lang becomes the new Man. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And all these characters are set up because they do a new event. They do a story called The New Avengers, where the main Avengers get like it's supposed to look like they die, but they accidentally get like sent into the future or something. I forget. And Iron Man just like initiate the New Avengers program, and then like a little message goes out to all these Avengers, very conveniently, all these all these other heroes just happen to be like within the same 4 blocks of each other, and no other superheroes. Like Wolverine was chosen to be a new Avenger, and he was just in New York with none of the other X-Men around. The Thing was chosen to be a new Avenger, and he was in New York with none of the other Fantastic Four around. It was very convenient. Also, why did Tony pick Luke Cage and Iron Fist to be new Avengers? They just seem kind of like thugs in this series, which I'm not saying anything against them. I like them, but and he never even met them until this point. Hank's the only person who had met them on screen, I guess, up until this point. But whatever. Spider-Man just being a fucking little dork as usual. Like the first time he showed up, he was just like, "Oh boy, peanut butter and jelly with the crust cut off. Thanks, Aunt May." And I was like, "Oh, you're such a fucking dork." But he wasn't that bad in the series. I actually did kind of like him. I liked him in the New Avengers episode, and the other episode he's in is just him and Cap in the sewers, and all he does is just like, all he does is kind of like fawn over Cap, which a lot of people do in this show. They shill for Cap all the time in this show, which is kind of annoying. In fact, in the second season, for the first half of the season, Cap was replaced by a Skrull. And we knew this. That was like the last shot of season 1 was a Skrull replacing him. I think it would have been more interesting to have the audience not know that he was a Skrull the entire time and do like a mystery plot. But whatever. Also about that Skrull thing, Hawkeye is such a fucking baby in this series, and so is the Hulk. Hawkeye and the Hulk are such little fucking babies. I guess the Hulk I can understand. He's a very angry dude, but like this happens like 5 times where like an Avenger has to go to him and be like, "No, Hulk, you are a hero." He's like, "Hulk's like, you just think I'm a monster." It's like they've already said they gave you this "you're a hero" speech like 5 times. Hulk, chill out, Jesus Christ. And Hawkeye, when he I forgot to mention Captain Marvel. Or I don't know if she's Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. It's Carol Danvers. She's okay. When she first showed up, a Kree robot landed on Earth, and she's like, "Let's blow the shit up." And then Hank Pym's like, "No, what if this is like an alien ambassador? We shouldn't blow it up." Turns out to be a war robot, but hey, Hank Pym had a point. It could have been some kind of space prince or something. But her first instinct was to blow the shit out of the alien robot, and then she was put in charge of SWORD, or made an agent of SWORD, which is first response to alien interdimensional activity. So I don't know if that's the best idea to put someone whose idea of first contact was blowing you up on the space station that's specifically made to make first contact. But hey, there are a lot of evil aliens, so what do I know? But there was like Hawkeye. Like when the Captain Marvel's like, they're like, Hawkeye gets fingered as the Skrull. Skrull. And then Captain Marvel's like, "We got to take you in and talk to you," and he's like, "What?" Like he just freaks out, and he mentions it like 5 times after that. "You guys thought I was a Skrull, dude." And you live in a world with all this crazy shit. You're an agent of you were an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. You can't like appreciate the situation, and you can't be like, "Okay, I'm not a Skrull, but I know you have no way of knowing that." Like you can't like just like understand from their perspective what they're doing, and you have to be like a little fucking baby about it. It's something else. There's a lot. They do a lot of secret agent stuff that just it was okay. The aftermath was really annoying because Captain America, the Skrull Captain America, tells the world like we should surrender to the Skrulls, and then the real Captain America comes and kicks his ass, and then everyone's like, "We hate you, Captain America. You told us to." Like why are people really? Are people really that like? Maybe I just have a high opinion of humanity, but the writers of this show had a very low opinion of humanity, where they will turn on Captain America, even though they have demonstrable proof that it was a shape-shifting alien. And this is not like it happened in our world. This happened in a world where there's evil aliens and robots and shapeshifters and stuff, so, like all the time. So why really people so they found that to be incredibly hard to believe that it was a shape-shifting alien. We have the aliens, like we have them in jail. There's a line where there's like the American people are not allowed to see them. I have no idea why. But still, you have Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D., the President of the United States, and the Avengers all saying it was an evil alien, and everyone's like, no way. Captain America totally told us to surrender. The guy who pretty much single-handedly fought World War II and beat up the shit out of Hitler told America to surrender to some aliens. Yeah, that's definitely in his character. And after that, he's being interviewed by the Bugle, and they're like, "What do you have to say about the comments that the supposed Skrull made?" And Captain America was just like, "I take full responsibility for everything he said." And it's like, why are you taking full responsibility for it? I think it's supposed to make us as the audience be like, "God damn it, Cap is so stoic." But no, it just makes me go, "Cap's a fucking idiot." Like, tell them it was an alien. Even if it's a fake story, stick to it. It's not making you look like you're. It's supposed the implication is supposed to be that Cap's all about the job. He doesn't care about public opinion. But it's not like he's going. They're point blank asking him, and he's taking responsibility. So he's going out of his way to make himself look guilty. So I don't know. That was dumb. Also, a bad thing about Cap is like his personality changes depending on what makes him look better. Like for example, this is kind of a bad example, but it's the only one I can think of. With Winter Soldier, he's like bending over backwards to excuse stuff that Bucky did. And that's because, we know he was brainwashed and the audience likes Bucky, so they made Cap, and also Cap has a relationship with Bucky, but they know the audience likes Winter Soldier, so they have Cap like the Winter Soldier. When Red Hulk shows up, and there's evidence that he was brainwashed, they say there's evidence that he was brainwashed, because he was working for the Red Skull along with Doc Samson and Falcon were brainwashed. And they say that, the Red Hulk was too, but I don't know if that's true or not, But the Red Hulk shows up. He's like, "Oh, I was brainwashed," and then he starts doing nothing but good things. And then he joins the Avengers, and Cap's like, "I hate that fucker," for no reason. And there is a reason. The reason is because we as an audience know he's bad. So they're like, Cap just psychically knows that he's bad because he's Cap and he knows everything. And then Cap disobeys direct orders from both the Avengers and the U.S. government and breaks the Hulk out because the Hulk was in jail for the Red Hulk's crimes. Even though it's okay, I'll get that. I'll rewind to that in a second. But he breaks direct orders from everybody and breaks the Hulk out, which I thought was weird. I thought that should have been Hawkeye because they've been throughout the whole series. Hawkeye and Hulk had this kind of friendly relationship where they were kind of buds, and Hawkeye is the kind of guy to completely disobey orders, and he's a very irascible dude. So that seemed like more of a Hawkeye story than a Cap story. But also. So, Red Hulk started... This is before Hulk was in prison. Red Hulk was smashing shit up. He smashed the SHIELD helicarrier. And then they blame... Hulk gets the blame for it. And then Skrull Captain America. This is all part of their plan. It's like, Hulk, you should let yourself be taken in until we can prove you innocent. And Hulk's like, forward. And they take him in. And then 3 or maybe 2 or 3 episodes later, they find out that was a Skrull and the real Cap comes back. And then 9 episodes later, they're like, oh shit, we should probably get the Hulk now. They even left him in there for months because they forgot that he was in there. That was dumb. See, Ultron was cool. Ultron's always cool. But everyone was giving Hank Pym shit for Ultron. It wasn't his... He built Ultron, but it wasn't his idea to weaponize him and give him sentience. That was Tony Stark, and Tony Stark's the one who gave him weapons. And I think it was Wasp and Cap, or Wasp or Cap, that was we should use the Ultrons as soldiers. So Hank Pym's hands are clean as far as I'm concerned in that scenario, but he blames himself and everyone blames him. A weird thing about the Vision. The Vision's in this, and the Vision's in this. When he's a bad guy, he's straight up kicks everyone's ass, and then when he becomes a good guy, he just gets the shit kicked out of him all the time. That's dumb. Little inconsistency there. And anything else worth mentioning? MODOK's pretty funny. They did Beta Ray Bill. Beta Ray Bill is awesome. I'm glad he got to be in it. Because the show was canceled, he never got to come back, even though he's like, call me when you need me again. And I was like, oh man, he better. In the last episode, every hero comes back except for him. It pissed me off. This show has pretty much every Marvel character almost, except for the two that I noticed. The two glaring omissions for me personally were Daredevil and Ghost Rider. Yeah. Again, Ghost Rider, I feel like it's pretty hard to animate chains and flames all the time, so maybe that's why they didn't have Ghost Rider. But Daredevil, come on, he's a big Marvel character. Anything else I should talk about? Any more weird... Oh, yeah, one of the main things. There's a really interesting story, very weird, where Hank Pym quits the team because he's like, I'm a pacifist and I've been fucking... I'm being such a hypocrite by being on the Avengers. And he built Ultron. He's pissed about that. Then like towards the end of the second season, he has like a complete fucking mental breakdown and like has dissociative identity disorder and becomes Yellow Jacket, who's like this ultra violent dude. And the Avengers are like, first they're like, you're a dick. Like they're just very, first of all, they're just very mean to him. Well, they think he killed Hank, but even after they find out with Hank, they're just like, you're a dick. And then Wasp's like, no, we should let him on the team. No, he should not be on the team. He should be in a psych ward. He needs mental help. This was a very weird thing they did. They just like this guy had a mental breakdown and broke out into a split personality, and they're just like, let's put him to work. He wants to shoot bad guys. Let's point him at the bad guys that we one shot. It's very weird. Also, they treat him like he barely shows up. He shows up in like the last episode. So like there was really even no point for them letting him back on the team. They should have like said like, no, you can't be on the team. You need help, because he never shows up anyway. But they let him on the team, and he never shows up again. Except for the last episode where he's being he's being all cocky and stuff. And the leader of S.W.O.R.D. is like, you're a dick. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. There's something wrong with this. This is a delicious beer, by the way. This is a big squeeze. If you like grapefruit, it tastes like soda. But something's going on. But he's being like a cocky asshole, and everyone's like, you're a dick, and Agent Brand of S.W.O.R.D. like just punches him in the face. But he's not doing anything different than I think Hawkeye would do. Like, he's pretty much being the same as him, and no one's like, Hawkeye, you're an asshole. I'm sorry about that. Cover your ears. Turn it down a little bit in case I cough again. Yeah, you know what? I regret recording this so late after I just sat down and powered through the entire series, because I really don't have any there's no structure to this. It's just me kind of vaguely recalling what I wanted to say while I watched it. But other than that, I feel like I'm coming across as kind of down on it, because I'm listing all the things that stuck out in my mind are all the more interesting stuff is the stuff I like to complain about. And so, but I think the one thing we can all agree on is that it shouldn't have been fucking canceled to make room for an Avengers show that just completely apes the movies and is completely like the movies in every way. I've actually, you know what, I shouldn't say it's bad, because did I say it's bad? I'm not saying it's bad. I've actually never watched it, but like when they said Earth's Mightiest Heroes is getting canceled and replaced with this show. I forget what it's called. And it was literally the poster for the Avengers movie, but like, in animation. And I was like, fuck this. They got rid of Wasp and Ant-Man, my favorite characters. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe I'm just being completely unfair. But this show was actually, for all my kvetching, this show was actually pretty damn good. And if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. It's the Marvel equivalent of the Bruce Timm Justice League show. It's as good as that. But you know, that's all I have to say. It was a damn good show with a damn good theme. They got rid of that theme in the second season, and I was like, fuck this shit, man. Thanks for listening, guys. Sorry that was kind of coffee and rambly, but what are you gonna do? I'll see you next time.